Hello and welcome back to the Chat Cave podcast, where we discuss media in the forms of topic-based discussions and reviews. I'm your host, Dranking Thomas Hughes, and today we're kicking off the year as we pretty much did last year, which is covering my most anticipated 2025 media. Now, of course, that covers movies, TV shows, and video games. This would be a top 10 list, technically, obviously 3 top 10 lists, and obviously next week we'll be doing the actual best of top 10 2024 media. Okay, both this list and that one, of course, are my own personal opinions. Probably differ to everyone else. More than likely, definitely. So I'm just going to run through all these and give a little reason why it's on the list. I'm more than likely missed something that I will go, oh shit, that could have gone on the list. I always do. My brain always works. So we're actually going to kick off with gaming, then go into TV, and then finish on movies. I think that's how I did it last year as well. Just a heads up on the gaming one. I'm not going to include Wolf Among Us 2 again. So I obviously included that last year. And I'm pretty certain that was my number one pick for gaming of 2024. I know it was my fucking vote in the Golden Cave Awards, and it never fucking came out. And at the moment, it's supposed to be 2025 release, but we'll see. So I'm not going to ever bother putting that on any of these lists, apart from maybe like an end of the year top 10 list. That'll be the only time that ever gets on a list ever again, because as I said, at the moment I don't know if it is fucking coming out or what. So we're going to ignore Wolf Among Us 2 and just get straight into number 10, which is Directive 8020, which is the fifth, get it right, Dark Pictures anthology game, because obviously they did the 4 games, which was Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, and The Devil in Me. And obviously that was the season 1, which as they spanned across. Oh, when did Man of Medan come out? Was Man of Medan pre-COVID? I swear it was. Obviously the last one came out in 2020. I want to say 2, but I really want to say 1 at the same time. So obviously it spanned over multiple years. These 4 entries did by Supermassive Games, obviously the creators of Until Dawn, obviously recently The Quarry, the new obviously Frank Stone, the casting of Frank Stone, the Dead by Daylight single player game. I still need to finish that, by the way. So obviously between that Until Dawn and then these 2 recent games, obviously they smashed through a bunch of mini games essentially, because they were pretty small. They weren't like massive in length. There's a lot of replayability to them. That's probably what made them more worthwhile. And obviously they took a break. Then there's obviously The Devil in Me was the last one of season 1, and there's obviously that little tease of the space game for season 2, which was going to kick it off. And of course, last year, they announced Directive 8020, which is obviously a space-themed horror game, which was going to revamp a lot of the game mechanics they use on the old ones. A bit more, the gameplay is slightly tweaked, which the trailer for it looked pretty cool. Once again, obviously you got a famous star in the leading role. Obviously this time, I don't remember the actress's name, but I know she was in obviously Captain Marvel. She was in James Bond recently. I'm pretty certain she was in that Day of the Jackal series. And obviously this is kind of taking inspiration from obviously The Thing, but also it's got to be like some sort of inspiration from Among Us in there, which obviously itself was inspired by The Thing. Obviously they're set on a spaceship, and there's there's aliens taking the form of the characters in the game. So as the trailer dropped and it looked pretty cool, and I'm definitely looking forward to picking it up this year. And as I haven't been really let down heavily with any of these obviously games by Supermassive Games. Obviously Until Dawn, amazing. Quarry was a pretty fucking decent game. Frank Stone, haven't finished it. It was pretty entertaining. And then there are 4 Dark Pictures games up to this point. Yeah, they're ranged in quality. Obviously, House of Ashes maybe being the best one, Devil in Me being the second best, and then Man of Medan and Little Hope being pretty much even. They're still very entertaining, so I'm 100% looking forward to this game, which is why it does just slide in at number 10. Because I've looked, obviously, when I made this list, looking at the other games, I'm like, okay, though I'm looking forward to this one. I feel like those ones are probably going to top it for me. which then moves us into number 9, which is Pokemon Legends Z to A, which is the next, obviously, Pokemon game. So obviously, the last Pokemon game that came out was Scarlet and Violet, I'm pretty certain, wasn't it? And obviously, then it's DLC. But before we had Scarlet and Violet, we did have a Pokemon Legends game, which is Legends Arceus, which kind of one-upped Scarlet and Violet before Scarlet and Violet even came out, because when that came out, people were like, well, we just had an even better Pokemon game earlier this year. This Pokemon Legends Arceus is way better than Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, it's not as buggy. There's some new game mechanics to it. And there's obviously the new Pokemon region, for the fact it's obviously set in the past, is a lot cooler than what they did with Scarlet and Violet. I mean, I didn't have, I like both games. But then obviously there's Pokemon Legends Z to A, which was going to be set again in the past. I'm pretty sure it's in the past, this one again. But it's set in the, obviously, X and Y region, which I loved. I love the X and Y because of the Mega Evolutions, which is why I think everyone's like hooked on this game already, because the idea of Mega Evolutions coming back, it's the best game mechanic Pokemon ever did. And I can't wait to see what they actually do with this game, because at the moment, obviously, as of recording this, there's been no information about this game, apart from Mega Evolution being back and the slight little teaser trailer we had last year. I'm guessing they're going to be saving a lot of the big reveal for Pokemon Day in February, which when they do, I'm going to try and get Alex on, and we'll talk about Pokemon Day again, because I remember we did it last year, so I'll try and do it again this year. So there's not too much to talk about on this one, because I said there's not been like a massive amount of information properly released. Obviously, there's a lot of rumours, speculation, quote-unquote leaked information. But as I say, I'm going to put that one just slightly over Directive 8020, just because I love Pokemon, and Hayden and I have been getting into Pokemon, the actual card game now, thanks to the mobile app. I mean, picked a few packs of Pokemon cards up over Christmas, and we're going to actually be trying to, actually play Pokemon cards, as well, obviously, while we wait for the actual Pokemon game to come out. Then number 8 is going to be Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. I'm pretty certain it's coming out this year. If it's not, then I've done a Wolf Among Us again. But I'm pretty certain it is supposed to be out this year. Obviously, this one I'm looking forward to a lot. I mean, the person who's wrote and worked on the game is the same woman who did Uncharted. So I'm hooked straight away on that. The little trailer they put out at one I can't remember what convention it was, early in the year, well, mid-year I think it was, looked fucking incredible. The graphics look really good for the cutscenes, and I swear there's some gameplays, a little bit of gameplay, and they look really good as well. And I like the idea of Captain America and Black Panther teaming up, obviously during the war, to try and obviously fight Hydra. Plus, they got the guy obviously who played Ezekiel in The Walking Dead, who's also the voice of Cyborg in Teen Titans Go. Obviously, they got him to play obviously Black Panther, but obviously he's not T'Challa. I'm pretty sure it's his father T'Chaka, because of obviously being set in the war, he can't be T'Challa unless they're just ignoring the fact that he wasn't born at that point. But as I say, it looks pretty cool, and obviously the people behind it is what's drawing me to this game more than the other two we've had. Obviously, I've put in this list so far, because I say I love Uncharted. I love that game so much, and I've got a feeling they're going to kill it with this one. Yeah. So then number 7 is an actual one that I know for 100% is coming out this year, because it comes out next month, and that is Monster Hunter Wilds. Obviously, this one Connor has been fucking waiting for quite a while, since it was announced at the Game Awards 2023. Obviously, it's an official release date of the end of February. And as I say, Connor loves Monster Hunter World. Well, he enjoyed Monster Hunter World. I don't know if he loved it, but he enjoyed it. Obviously, he really enjoyed Monster Hunter Rise. Was it the last one? I think it was Rise. I mean, we played it on stream once we got it working. That was once my antivirus stopped being a knob. So we played a bit of it, and it was quite fun. It was a really interesting game. And I know he fucking blew his load out heavily when they announced this one. Obviously, I've enjoyed Monster Hunter. I won't go any higher than this, because some of these games I got above this are definitely ones I'm going to be playing straight away. Monster Hunter Wilds, I don't know if I'll play it straight away. I might play it later in the year, like I do some games, like I have done recently with, for example, the Save Park game and the Suicide Squad game. I didn't get them on launch. I got them fucking months and months down the line. So this is probably one that I'd probably pick up maybe when it starts going on sale. I'll probably it depends really. If because I'm pretty certain it's got online features. If kind of pulls my leg and it's like, oh, we should get it, should play it, then I might. But there's another game which is just 2 spots higher than this one that comes out like I think it's like a week or 2 before that. I'm looking forward to a little bit more. But I say I'm still looking forward to it. Monster Hunter is a pretty cool game. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So then number 6 is going to be Doom: The Dark Ages. Again, kind of drew me into Doom. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he brought me the first one. The 2016 one. And I played it and absolutely fucking loved it. To the point, obviously, I brought Doom Eternal. I still haven't finished the DLC on that one. I think I'm on either the first or second DLC, I can't remember. But I really enjoyed it. Obviously, it's got great music. The fucking violence is just breathtaking. The story is, very minuscule because you're not there for the story. You're there for this hard-hitting music and there's gun and just gore, and it's fucking perfect. And then obviously they announced the Doom: The Dark Ages, which is going to be like a more medieval style one, but with the exact same feel to it. And obviously they showed a little bit of gameplay, and it, again, looked fucking amazing. Obviously, I think mine and Connor's main thing is like how are they going to handle the music, since obviously they're not using the same composer this time. Since obviously the Fallen Out during the Doom Eternal, appreciate it was the DLC stuff. So we're hoping that that's not going to be a hindrance on it. I love the last 2 Doom games. They were just like the Tomb Raider games are a great example of reviving a franchise that hasn't seen the light of day in a while, and giving it a new, fresh look. Because that's what obviously the Doom and Doom Eternal did. They gave Doom a fresh coat of paint, which it needed, and brought it into the modern era. And so they're both fucking perfect games. And I'm hoping this one is another fine example of a perfect game. As long as I can fucking headbang while there's gutting some demons, I'm all good. So number 5 is the one that comes out before Monster Hunter Wilds. I know there's a lot of people hating on this game, but I'm gonna give it a shot because I love the franchise. I love the setting of the game. So that is Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was originally set for, I think it was November 2024, but then they delayed it due to poor reactions from some testing of the game. So that obviously delayed it to make sure it was fucking perfect. I mean, they gutted the season pass. The season pass pretty much doesn't exist. I'm pretty certain there's still some free DLC coming to the game, but the original plan for its expansion is pretty certain out the window, and all that's now just free content, which I'm okay with. As long as the game is good, I don't give a shit about this expansion. If they want to revisit it down the line and go, okay, here's a new season pass, this has got a new expansion attached to it, would you like to buy it? Then I might consider it. Like, for example, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that had the Ragnarok DLC, like, it's like a year or pushing 2 years after the actual game came out, and it was like a completely separate season pass. If they do that with this, I'm not too fussed with it, as long as the base game comes out and it's fine. But as I said, I'm a massive Assassin's Creed fan. I mean, if you follow the channel, I've been playing Assassin's Creed chronologically in terms of release order on the channel. I mean, I've bashed through the one up to, I'm currently in the middle of Black Flag. Obviously, I've jumped ahead with Mirage. That's because that was kind of the release date, weekend play of it. I'm not going to do that with Shadows. I'll play it offline, and then down the line, once I get past Valhalla, I'll jump into that on the channel. But as I say, love the franchise. It's just one of those ones that I've grown up with, and I haven't grown out of it. I mean, I can go back to any of the games and sit through again and again and again. I mean, the amount of hours I put into Valhalla, I think it was like 150 plus hours I put into Valhalla in the end. And that was without finishing the Ragnarok expansion, which I don't know if I'll do yet. I'm more than likely end up doing it once I fucking sit through it on the for recording purposes, but it depends how I feel, because I've got that many games playing at the moment. I don't know if I'll get a chance to actually finally sit through and play that, but either way, so Assassin's Creed Shadows, it literally comes out when I've got a week off work, so I'm pretty certain now it comes out like at the end of the week, so I've annoyingly just got the weekend to play, but at least I can actually get it installed and then just sit through the entire fucking weekend and just bash through as many hours as I can on this game. But so I know there's a lot of controversy about it. People hating on some of the stuff they've chose for this game, but I'm not gonna hate on it until I've actually sat down with the controller in my hand and play through it. So that's why I'm literally gonna put it quite high on my list. It's not gonna go any higher than it is, because there's a couple of the games ahead of it are definitely ones that jumping at the gun for. One of them only recently announced officially, and the fucking gameplay of it looks so good. The story looks funny as hell. And from their track history with the last two games I've played from this company, it's going to be a fucking banger. So number 4 is going to be Split Fiction, which is the latest game from the creators of It Takes Two and A Way Out. I've recently started playing It Takes Two again with Hayden now, and going back into it, I just love the feel of the game. And obviously I heard before the Game Awards that there's rumours of a new game coming out, and I was like, yes, okay, announce it, see what you got. And then the Game Awards, the obviously creator announced Split Fiction, which was a blend of fantasy and sci-fi, and it was colliding, and the level designs they showed were so good. I mean, the instant they showed the fact you could have a pet dragon and raise it into being this giant fucking dragon, I was like, yeah, I'm sold straight away. I don't give a shit about any of the levels, I just want that level. But then, to be fair, they showed some of these other levels, and there's like this one of the sci-fi ones when you have like a little mech suit and it slowly adapts to your body, and I'm just like, that's pretty cool. I'm very interested in the hot dog situation. I don't know what that level is when it's like, oh, you're a pig and then you're a hot dog. I'm just like, what the fuck's this? I'm interested in seeing what the hell that is. But I say, if it's anything like It Takes Two, it's going to be fun. If it's anything like A Way Out, it's going to be fun, because I love both those games. I love playing for both of them when I played them for Alex, and I'm definitely going to fucking pick this up straight away, because I think we both mentioned playing this as soon as it comes out on the channel. So do keep an eye out for that comes out, because I say me and Alex are going to probably just fucking bash through that game, because it looks so good. I would put it higher, but I think some of the 3 that are above it are ones that I've been waiting for a long time. Obviously, number 3 is going to be GTA 6, obviously. One that I think everyone's been waiting for a long time. I mean, when the trailer dropped for that last year, it kind of broke the internet. Everyone was just like, whoa. And obviously, they haven't really dropped a lot of information about it, apart from it's supposed to be coming out in 2025. But if it's anything like GTA 5, it's going to be good. And obviously, since they're going to add more to it than what was in GTA 5, it's going to be even better. And I love GTA 5. I love playing the single player story, and I love playing it online. So I don't see why I'm not going to enjoy this. I enjoyed Rockstar's last game, which was obviously Red Dead 2. So again, I can't see why I'm not going to really enjoy this game when it finally comes out. But I say, because there's not too much information, I'm not going to talk too much about it. So I'm going to just move on to number 2, which is going to be Death Stranding on the Beach, which is the second Death Stranding game by Hideo Kojima. Obviously, the first one came out in 2019. It was up for many Game of the Year awards. It didn't win the Game of the Year awards that year, if I remember correctly. That one was won by... Oh, what was that game? It's like, I don't know, I've kind of said it's one of those difficult games, one of those soul-like games. I just can't remember what the fucking game was called. My brain's gone blank, so I'm going to move on. Obviously, it lost out to that game, and you know, it annoyed me, because obviously I love Death Stranding. I thought it was really good. Yes, I understand it's a walking simulator, but it had this really intriguing story. You got to play as Norman Reedus, got his little baby on your obviously your chest, and the best thing about it, the fucking PlayStation controller used to make the goddamn noise of obviously this baby constantly. And I was like, that's pretty fucking cool. So obviously when they dropped that trailer for obviously this one, it looked really interesting. Again, it looked crazy as hell. If it's anything like the first one, it will be crazy as hell. And there's a lot of really cool... Obviously, I'm just really looking forward to getting back into this world of Death Stranding and seeing how they expand upon the story they laid out in the first one. Because they laid the groundwork for this franchise, and I'm interested to see how they build on top of that. And obviously the fact they got Troy Baker back in his villainous role again, I'm interested to see how they've done that. I'm just overall interested to see what they do. Kojima has done with this game, and then that leaves number 1, which is one that I voted for the Game Awards of most anticipated, and that is Ghost of Yotai. Fucking love Ghost of Tsushima. 2020, that's all I fucking binge played for it was like a month or 2. I think I did it on stream actually. I played I might have done it for like an entire month on stream. And I fucking loved it. And then they brought the DLC out, which is a really great little expansion on top of that. And I was wondering where they were going to go further with this franchise, because they could do more games like it. And obviously we got the announcement of the movie. Obviously Jin cameoed in fucking that Secret Levels recently. I say cameoed like a fucking blinking and miss it cameo in the background, which is fucking annoying. Obviously he's also cameoed recently in Astrobot, and I'm just like, okay, where they're going to go with this franchise. And of course, a few months ago, they announced Ghost of Yotai, which is going to be dropping in March, I think it is dropping. Is it March? I think it's March. Which was it May? I can't remember. But obviously that's dropping this year, and I was like, okay, I'm hooked already. What's this about? And the trailer showed obviously they're changing the time period slightly. So you're following a female protagonist this time, but it's more or less the exact same feel of a game. The gameplay they showed definitely just felt like the same game, just new character, new story, which makes sense. You're not gonna fucking just change your entire fucking game if the last one worked. If you're gonna do it, you may as well do Ubisoft and just copy and paste the same thing but alter it. Obviously, you'll probably add and fix stuff that didn't work with your first one, which is what I'm hoping they've done with this. But to be fair, I didn't really see anything I hated with the first one, because I fucking loved it. It's the one that at the 2020 Game Awards, I was so upset that it lost out to Last of Us Part 2, which obviously a lot of people weren't as attached to as the first one. But this game came out and just was like, whoa, this is really good. And it barely, I think it may have walked away with like 1 or 2 awards. I'm just like, Last of Us Part 2 did not deserve to walk away Game of the Year in 2020. Ghost of Tsushima was just so fucking breathtaking, and it was a breath of fresh air. It needed to win it, and of course they fucking just bum-licked fucking Naughty Dogs. Despite the problems with Part 2, particularly its story. But I'm hoping they do tweak some of that in the TV show. Like, I know they're not going to fully tweak it, but I'm hoping they don't, just copy and paste exactly what they did with that second game. Similar to what they did with the first one, but I'll get into that when I get to the TV stuff. But yeah, so, day one, I'm picking up Ghost of Yotai and just fucking sitting through it. I've tried to play Ghost of Tsushima again recently, but because of all the fucking other games I've got to play, I just never got a chance to actually sit through anything apart from that really fucking cool intro. So I'm hoping again there's another really fucking badass intro, and if there is, Ghost of Yotai is gonna be another fucking hit. It's definitely gonna be my fucking Game of the Year if it comes out fucking as spot on as Ghost of Tsushima was. I'm hoping it's not a Rise of the Ronin situation where I'm like, okay, I'm very interested in this. I'm actually quite hyped for this, and then it comes out and it's like, it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. So I'm hoping it's not that situation. I'm hoping it's more Ghost of Tsushima feel to me after playing it than my Rise of the Ronin feel, because that just let me down ever so slightly. That it's not even in my top 10 for this year. So yeah, that's pretty much my top 10 gaming. I'll quickly run back through it. So obviously, number 10, Directive 8020. Number 9, Pokemon Legends Z-A. Number 8, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. Number 7, Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 6, Doom the Dark Ages. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Number 4, Split Fiction. Number 3, GTA 6. Number 2, Death Stranding on the Beach. And number 1, Ghost of Yotai. So I'm going to quickly pause my recording here. I need a quick drink before I carry on. And then we're going to be moving on to my most anticipated TV shows. Right, most anticipated TV shows. Most of these are pretty much like the next seasons of shows. I think there's 2 on here that are technically first season, but one of them technically, despite it being a first season, it also technically is season 4. But I'll explain to that when I get to it. So number 10 for me is going to be Peacemaker Series 2. Really enjoyed the first series with John Cena when that came out. For us in the UK, I'm pretty certain it was 2023, but I know in America, I think it was like 2022. Was it 2022 for us as well? It was just like months and fucking months later. But either way, obviously, I really enjoyed that when I finally got to sit down and watch it. It was really funny. It pretty much had the exact same feel as the Suicide Squad film did, which, made sense. It was also made by James Gunn. So it made sense that how this movie felt, this TV show is going to feel the exact same. But of course, they upped the comedy a lot more and put all the center focus on John Cena's Peacemaker character. And as I say, it was a really fun show. And obviously now, though it's Series 2, it's also kind of retconning some of the Series 1 stuff because obviously the merge into the new DC universe, because obviously Peacemaker Series 1 technically was set in the old DC universe, but this one is now set in the new one. So they're using some of the elements from that first one, but not all of them from what obviously I can gather on reading online. So I'm interested to see how that works and how they're going to address a lot of that, and I'm interested to see where they go with the second series, because the first series, villain-wise, was quite unique and interesting. I mean, the butterfly stuff was crazy, so I'm interested to see how they can top that for the second series. And obviously, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. My mind was going somewhere with continuing that sentence. I was like, no, actually, no, it makes sense. But I'm not going to go any higher because obviously we haven't had too much info with this one. There was little bits of trailer from that HBO, well, sorry, Max technically, like teaser thing they put out. There was a few little shots from this in that, but there's not been an actual full-fledged trailer just yet. I don't even know actually when it's fully coming out this year. I'm guessing it's going to be later in the year. But I know it's coming out this year because they say that was their 2025 slate trailer. So I know it's coming out this year. I just don't know when. Number 9 then is one that there was a slight teaser, nothing like massive. Anything mainly about this is just knowing when it's set and who's in it, and that's gonna be Alien Series 1, which is obviously coming to Disney Plus / Hulu. So I'm putting this one above Peacemaker Series 2, despite barely any visual in terms of scenes from this show being released. But the reason I'm putting it above it is because Alien Romulus fucking killed it last year. It was so fucking good. And I've always been interested in what if they took some of these, obviously, franchises and went, okay, what if we put them to TV instead? How can we do a TV show out of this? And that's what they did with Alien. Obviously, they put it as a TV show. Obviously, they got the guy behind the X-Men series Legion, Noah Hartley, something like that. They got him to adapt it for a TV audience, and so far, obviously, since they dropped Prey back in 2022, Disney haven't really set a foot wrong with bringing Alien and Predator to the big and small screen again. So Prey was fucking amazing and killed it on Disney Plus, and then Alien Romulus last year just killed it for me in the cinema. So I'm hoping again this is another case of a win. But as I said, there's not really much to do, info drop for this year. I think there's that slight little teasers that keep dropping just to say that obviously it's being called Alien Earth, I think it is. And I know they cast, what's the actor's name? He played the fake Boba Fett in the Mandalorian series, and he was in Scream 2. I just can't think of his name off the top of my head. What's his fucking name? I'm gonna Google it because Alien Earth. I always forget his name. Timothy Olyphant. That's it. Obviously, he's really good, and I'm interested to say I can't wait for them to actually drop a proper trailer for this. Or have they? Because no, it's from like a month ago. It's like really short, 30-second little teasers just to be like, oh yeah, it's coming out next year. And then we saw a tiny glimpse of the alien, but other than that, there's not really been too much drop with this. There's been little tiny bits of information. So yeah, so I'd love to go higher with that, but until I actually know a lot more, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna put it just above Peacemaker, just because I've grew up with the Alien franchise, so I am gonna just put that ever so slightly over Peacemaker because of that. Despite Peacemaker having a very solid first season, my only problem with that the second series is actually bogged down with the fact that they're gonna kind of retcon and ignore a lot of the things that they set up with the first one. So yeah, so number 8 then. This was no pun intended. But Kaiju number 8, Series 2. I mean, Series 1 came out in 2024 and was really fucking good. I'm saying really fucking good a lot with some of this stuff, but it's because it's true. It was really fucking good. It was that good that I brought the manga to sit through and read. And then they're dropping like a compilation film in cinema. Well, I think it's supposed to be. Yeah, actually, yeah, they are. They're dropping a compilation film in cinema with obviously some new footage that we haven't seen yet for Series 1, just to, while we wait for Series 2. But as I say, Series 1 was really interesting. There was a lot of really cool stuff about it. I mean, you run the mill anime of, your character ends up getting the power or the ability of what everyone hates. He's now fighting alongside these people against these things they hate, but these people are kind of questioning it. Basically, it's your surrogate Attack on Titan, which is fine by me because I love that show. And this was a really fun show with some really good visuals. The intro and outro are really good. The fighting was incredible, and it got left on a cliffhanger enough to draw you in for a second series. So, yeah, again, this is another one they haven't really shown too much of. They showed nothing of it really. All I know is that it's apparently coming out this year. I could be. I hope I'm fucking not wrong. I hope I haven't just put it on here for the sake of it. Season 2. Yeah, Kaiju number 8 will return for Season 2 in 2025. That's fine. Release window was confirmed at the end of the teaser that the trailer dropped in for Kaiju Day. Yeah, I remember that. So I'm guessing it'll probably be late, back end of this year, because it depends when they started animating it. But yeah, obviously, I've not read the manga yet, so I actually don't know where this goes after what we had in the first series finale, which was the big battle between obviously Kafka and the General. I don't know where this is going after their alliance was formed officially. So obviously, when I read the manga, I'll know, and I'll probably be like, "Oh shit, I know exactly where this is going now." So 2025 is definitely a big year for some anime that's coming out. I mean, we've got Chainsaw Man coming out. We've got 2 different My Hero Academia series coming out. There's that new, I think it's called the Red Ranger, something in another world. It's on an adventure in another world or something like that, which is another Sentai inspired show. Pretty soon, Go Loser Ranger Series 2 is also coming out in 2025. There's the Demon Slayer movie. There's a lot of really good anime, really good, big, well-established anime franchises having releasing in 2025, and I'm there for it. It's all the stuff I love, so I'm definitely there for it. So number 7 is going to be Andor Series 2. Andor Series 1 dropped in 2022, and obviously it was the prequel to Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And it was going to slowly build up until the point of when you meet Andor in, obviously, Rogue One. And Series 1, obviously, was set over 2 different time periods. Obviously, it had the stuff. The first half of the series was, obviously 1 year. And then it obviously cut, years and years down the line for the second half. But I know Series 2 is going to have, multiple time jumps with, every so many episodes being a little tiny section of the time. Because, obviously, with this being only a 2-series show, they've got to kind of push as much information out as possible to get you to the point of here's Rogue One. So that's probably the wrong idea of them doing it in just 2 seasons. They probably should have maybe done it as a 3 or 4 series show, and then they could have spread it out a bit more. But I'm not going to complain, because if it's anything like the first series, it would be really good. I'm just hoping that those time jumps don't ruin it too much. So yeah, obviously, Series 1 was just, especially the fact that Disney with Star Wars have been struggling a lot. Obviously, a lot of people didn't like Mandalorian Series 3. A lot of people definitely didn't like The Acolytes. Obviously, Ahsoka did pretty decent. And recently, Skeleton Crew obviously got good reviews. So it's been very mixed with Disney in terms of their Star Wars stuff. Not even just on Disney Plus. I mean, their movies and stuff have been very mixed received from fans. But Andor was a surprisingly decent one. It was something different. I think it was because it was something different for Star Wars. Not different, like, completely. Obviously, the espionage stuff's always been there with Star Wars, the sneaking into places. Obviously, that's always pretty much been there. Rogue One was, the big one for that. But I feel like, especially the TV stuff, a lot of TV stuff's been focused on the Jedis, the bounty hunters. I think for the fact they went, okay, let's do a show. It's not, focus on bounty hunters, not have Jedis be involved whatsoever. Let's just fully focus on this character that we brought in for this one single movie. This character we literally killed off at the end of this movie. So you know how his story ends. How does his story get to there, though, is the question. How does he get to where he's at in that opening sequence that he's involved in Rogue One? And that's what I did with this. And I think that really worked for me in the first series. And I think that worked for a lot of people. And they had some really good episodes. I mean, when they did the prison stuff towards the back end, Andy Serkis, that was when the show fucking peaked. And I'm hoping they bring that level to the second series, because I'm very happy as well. It's dropping in April. It's dropping on my birthday, which is amazing. So I'll be able to watch I think it's like the first 2 episodes at least are dropping on my birthday. So I'm straight there on Disney Plus that day watching it. So I've been really enjoying the Skeleton Crew series at the moment. So let's hope they knock it out of the park again with Andor. So number 6 is one that I did this last year. I put stuff in there. I was like, it hasn't been confirmed, but I'm guessing it's going to be coming out because it won't take too much in terms of filming. And that's going to be Only Murders in the Building Series 5. So Series 4 dropped last year. Obviously focused on them trying to have their podcast turn into a movie. But obviously at the same time, we had another murder. Obviously the show ended on a cliffhanger with, again, another murder, which is obviously going to be the setup for the 5th series. And then they announced Series 5 was happening. They never announced that it was officially coming out in 2025. I mean, Steve Martin basically was like, oh, it's coming out next year. And they're like, no. We don't actually know when it's coming out yet. But I'm going to assume it's going to be coming out in 2025. If it's anything, say, like the last series, it'd be middle, back end. Because, I mean, Series 4 dropped September time. So my guess is going to be a September up until, I think it was November, release for Series 5. So, as I say, Series 4, not Series 4, but all 4 seasons so far have been really fun to watch. They've been killing it pretty much. So, I can't see why they step a foot wrong with a 5th series. But it is to that point of, when are they going to stop? Because I feel like if they push it too much, that's when there might be a problem. That's why I'm happy with what we did in the Shadows. That's why I'm mixed feelings with what we did in the Shadows ending, because I would like to see more, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, if they keep doing more, maybe it's going to start wearing off. That the goodness within that show is going to start wearing off, and I feel like that's might happen with this show. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping they can get fucking how many more series out of it. I mean, fucking there's TV shows out there that been going on way too long, but they're still going. But I feel like there's only so many times you can watch someone get murdered and they have to solve it. I feel like the only way they could probably spice it up would be taking, obviously, like they did with this series, they took it out of the building. I know they're going back to the building now for the 5th series, but Series 4 took it out of the building. They went elsewhere, and maybe that's what they need to do. Maybe they went abroad or something and they had to solve the murder, obviously, while on holiday. Maybe something stupid like that would work to, spice it up a little bit. But we'll have to see how Series 5 goes, if they do any more after this or not. So then number 5 is going to be Castlevania Nocturne, which Series 2, which is actually coming out in January. Obviously, I've been following Castlevania on Netflix since obviously the first series dropped. Been really enjoying it. I mean, I managed to get Hayden to review the first episode for her Hayden show with the anime stuff a while ago. And then, of course, they then ended it perfectly with obviously the last series. And then went, okay, we're going to push further ahead in time. We're going to focus on the next generation of Belmont. And obviously they did Nocturne. They took the story to France. And they had a really interesting first series. Again, I was pretty much as hooked as I was with the base Castlevania series. So when they finally announced Series 2, because it did take a while for them to announce it, when they finally announced it and dropped the trailer, I was like, yep, I'm straight there. I mean, I wish I had my Funko Pops there, because I do have the Funko Pops, the two main characters of Castlevania Nocturne, but they're currently on the shelf downstairs, so I can't really be like, this is how much I like the show. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Series 2, because obviously now they've got Alucard back in the mix. The show is going to be very interesting. So then Series 4. Number 4 is going to be My Hero Academia Series 8. Obviously, the last series of My Hero Academia. The main series, at least, because we do have a spin-off series, which is coming out, I think, April time as well, which is the Vigilante manga adaptation, which could have easily gone on this list. But I put Series 8 on here of the base series instead, because Series 7 knocks out the park for me. It's the show's best series to date. Action-packed as hell. I know a lot of people hate the ending for, obviously, the manga for the show. Obviously the manga the show's based on. But I've not read the manga. I've not seen the ending. So, obviously, I'm guessing they'll adapt the same ending for Series 8. So, I'm not really too concerned, because I know a lot of people hated Attack on Titan's ending, but I didn't mind it. It didn't hinder the show for me, so I'm hoping for the exact same feel with My Hero Academia. And I mean, the cliffhanger they left off Series 7 with obviously the two battles going on, the All Might versus All for One battle, and then you obviously got the Shigaraki and Deku battle. They left those two moments as the finale cliffhanger of Series 7. They were just perfect, and they drew me to the point of, I need to see where this goes. I need to see these two battles, and I'm hoping. I say I hope, I know they're gonna, but every single episode in Series 7 felt like having blue balls at the end, because they got you to the point of completion, and then they just stopped and was like, next episode, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I feel like they're going to do this every single episode of Series 8, but when you got the whole series, you can watch them all back to back. It's just fucking perfect. And as I say, Series 7 was amazing. It was the best My Hero Academia series to date. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing the final chapters of the My Hero Academia story come to life. And as I say, I'm also very much looking forward to this spin-off, this Vigilante spin-off, and seeing how that works, because obviously this is a completely different character you're going to be following, and different motivations to being a hero. But I know we are getting cameos in that of obviously well-established My Hero characters, which makes sense, i.e. the actual professional heroes. So that could have easily got on this list, but I stuck with one My Hero Academia series, and that would be the main series for that. Number 3 then is going to be Stranger Things Series 5, another final season. Obviously, the last series, again, was really good. I mean, the back end of Series 4, when it came out in 2022, obviously, the episodes are fucking, like, movie length, and I'm pretty certain, like, each episode in this is, like, an hour long. So, obviously, 4 back-to-back seasons of really good of a streaming TV show. I don't see how they're going to step this foot wrong with the final season. I mean, they've even brought back fucking what's his name? The guy who just recently did Deadpool and Wolverine. No, his name's gone from my head. But obviously the guy who directed Deadpool and Wolverine and Free Guy, obviously they got him back since he worked on Series 1. He's directing some episodes in the final season, which makes sense. Bring back someone who worked on your first series to help wrap up this story. Because, again, this is another case of there's only so much you can do, because obviously they started when obviously the main characters were pretty young, and now they're up to the point of they're adults near enough. So it's just a case of, well, you keep dragging it out, but by the time this series reaches like series 8, how long you taking between these shows? These kids are going to be like fucking 60, 70. Half the cast is going to be dead. So there's so far you can get much you can do with this. Plus, with a lot of the people involved getting these big careers because of this, obviously, Millie Bobby Brown going off and doing a lot of movies and obviously for Netflix and just other companies in general. Obviously, David Harbour going off and working with Marvel and DC now. And a couple of the other ones spanning off and just having either continuing their career they already had or reigniting a career that they have but hadn't really kicked off, or just in general having a career because of this show. Obviously, there's only so many times you can be able to get these people back together to create this show, and so that you'd be having these massive time jumps because of the fact that these characters are now aging. So I'm happy it's ending, because if it's done right, it will be a solid ending. Because as I say, so far 4 seasons, pretty decent TV, and for the fact that they've taken care in making this perfect, gets the thumbs up from me. And then number 2, I'm putting this high because I really like the first series, but I know the second game, and I know how much stuff annoyed me in that. But I'm going to put it number 2 just because I say I like the first series, and that's Last of Us Series 2. I say I love the first game. Second game, I don't hate like a lot of people, but compared to the first game, it's nowhere near. And then the same thing with the TV show. I fucking love the first series. And I liked how they adapted and tweaked a few things to make it work for the TV. So I'm hoping they tweak enough for this, but I'm probably gonna regret putting this high. I'm just gonna jump straight to number 1. I'm not gonna talk too much about this because series 2. I know this. It's not all the second game of this one. It's like half of it or so much of it. Because I know they split it over the second and third and maybe 4th series, which is kind of maybe what they should have been the first series. I maybe should have just dragged it out over the course of a couple of seasons, which then would have made Ellie get to the point of the right age for series 2, not, be near enough the same age as she was in series 1, which is what they've gone with this. But let's say I've got mixed feelings, but I'm going to put it high because I enjoyed series 1. But that nagging feeling of I know how the second game goes is definitely tugging at the back of my head, saying, "You fucking moron! Why are you putting it this high?" So then number 1 is going to be Daredevil Born Again Series 1. This is the one I mentioned, saying technically it's Series 4 of the Daredevil series, but because Disney's rebranded it, it's a first series, so it's both Series 1 and Series 4. Obviously, absolutely love the Netflix Daredevil series. Charlie Cox is so good as Matt Murdock. I mean, when they brought him back for the Spider-Man cameo and then the episode of She-Hulk, I was, my jaw had hit the floor. I was like, yes, this is so good. And then when they finally was like, okay, we're doing a new series. I know that they technically had to reshoot a lot of it because they scrapped a whole bunch of it, but that to me shows that they are making sure it's perfect. They're not going to just throw out any fucking rubbish. I want this to be as close to what Netflix had as possible. So for them doing that and just delaying it so they can redo a lot of it shows to me that they're putting the time and effort into this show. On top of that, they're bringing back a lot of the cast from Netflix. I know they've recast Vanessa, but apart from her, they pretty much brought back everyone from the Netflix series. So again, that shows to me that they're trying to get this as close to that as possible to make it that it's fully canonical with the MCU. So when people are watching stuff, they can go, okay, I'll watch these shows. I know exactly what these are like. I'm guessing similar to James Gunn's DC, they're probably going to tweak a few things and be like, okay, not all that happened in the past. Like some of that happened, but not all of it. So I'm guessing they might do something like that. Mainly because of the failure that is the Iron Fist series. And if they can't get Mike Coulter back as Luke Cage, maybe then they'll have to try and tweak a few things to, make it work within the MCU. But I mean, recasting the MCU after them being characters for this person playing character for so long, it's not unusual. I mean, they've done it with Thaddeus Ross for Captain America, obviously Brave New World. Sorry, Brave New World, yeah. New World Order was the first. Was New World Order the first name or Brave New World the first name? Well, either way, obviously they brought back the Incredible Hulk actor, obviously for the Civil War stuff, and then the Infinity War and Endgame and the Black Widow movie. But then when he passed away, obviously they've recast him with Harrison Ford. So technically speaking, we've already had one person playing a character, and then and then on top of that, don't forget the War Machine situation with 1 and 2. It wouldn't be the first time they've recast someone despite them playing a pretty pivotal role in a movie. But we'll have to see how they handle it. If obviously Born Again, I'm just happy that we're getting a Daredevil series again. I'm happy we're getting fucking John Bernthal back as the Punisher. I'm happy we're getting more Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, because I really enjoyed seeing his return in Hawkeye and Echo, despite them being very small return roles for him. They still paved the way for where a character is going, heading into the Daredevil Born Again series. So, yeah, I feel like that's pretty much. Again, there's a few things I could have put in there, and there's a few things I probably could have taken out. But I said the Last of Us Series 2 is the one I maybe could have tweaked out, but I'm just going to leave it there. So I'm going to quickly run through the list again. So number 10, Peacemaker Series 2. Number 9, Alien Earth Series 1. Number 8, Kaiju number 8 Series 2. Number 7, Andor Series 2. Number 6, Only Murders in the Building Series 5. Number 5, Castlevania Nocturne Series 2. Number 4, My Hero Academia Series 8. Number 3, Stranger Things Series 5. Number 2, Last of Us Series 2. And number 1, Daredevil Born Again Series 1. So again, I'm just like with the first part of this because I've been talking for about 20 plus minutes. I will cut here, have a quick drink, and then restart with the final part of this video, which is going to be the most anticipated movies of 2025, which was probably my most difficult list to sort out because I had a fucking ton of ideas for this, and it took a bit of tweaking to get this 10 out. So yeah, I'm going to take the quick break now, and then we'll be back for the top 10 anticipated movies. Right, final part of this video / podcast, and that is, of course, most anticipated movies of 2025. As I said, just adding the TV stuff, I struggled with the movie part of it. The game one was pretty easy. I couldn't really think of anything else but these 10 games. TV show, maybe like 1 or 2 things I had extra, but I pretty much nailed that in straight away. The movie one for me was a struggle because there's so much that I could have put in this list that didn't go in the list. I mean, the Captain America sequel that comes out in February, that could have gone on this list. The Chainsaw Man movie that's coming out could have easily gone on that list. I'm trying to run down the list and be like, okay, what didn't I put in there? I'm trying to remember what fucking other options I had because I had such a fucking huge list. Here we go. I used the Golden Cave Awards list. That's basically what I worked off of. So I'm looking at this. I mean, the Until Dawn movie could have been on here. Zootopia 2, Mortal Kombat 2, the new Karate Kid movie. Fuck you, Minecraft, you're not being on there. Megan 2.0 could have been on there. Thunderbolts. The Witcher animated movie that's coming out, Silence of the Deep, that could have easily been on there. I'm pretty certain Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is due out, so I mean, I enjoyed the first one, so that could have easily been on there. But they weren't. I say it was a struggle. I mean, even to put some of these in order, particularly the back end was a struggle. I kind of just went off what we had actual footage of and what we didn't have footage of for some of these. Some of them, like for example, what I put in number 4, well, not number 4 technically, number 2, number 4 as well. There's not been a massive amount apart from just like stills, but I'm going off track record to why I'm putting them this high. So we're going to get straight into number 10 here, and that's going to be The Black Phone 2. Originally, I had this a bit higher because the first Black Phone with Ethan Hawke was a really solid horror movie. Really enjoyed that when it came out. I wish I got to see it in cinema. I obviously just watched it when it came on home media. And I've seen it twice now. And both times I've watched it, I've been just amazed of how well the movie is, how good it is, I should say. Not how well the movie is, how good the movie is, and how well it was crafted. But obviously, I had mixed feelings when there's a second one, because obviously the first one ended perfectly. It was the perfect ending. The hero won, well, the kid won, the villain was killed, and you're like, okay, this is the perfect end. This is how most horror films tend to end. And obviously then there's a second one with obviously all the cast pretty much coming back, and even Hawke coming back, and I'm just like, how is this gonna work? There's so many possibilities of how this could work, but the reason I'm putting this obviously as number 10 is because, as I say, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the sequel. As I say, if it's anything like the first one, it'd be good. But the thought of it tainting that first one by coming out and just being not as good, because for a fact, so there's plenty of sequels out there where you put a first one out, first one was fucking perfect, you put a second one out, second one is nowhere near as good as that first one, and you kind of look back at the first one and go, what did you have to? If you didn't exist, they wouldn't have fucking tried to. If you weren't so good, they wouldn't have fucking spanned you off with a sequel. But I can't see them like going wrong with this. It's got the same people behind it as the first one. I don't know. I've got mixed feelings with it, but I'm gonna put it in the list just because I really enjoyed the first one, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they do go with a sequel. Just hoping they don't fuck it up, basically. Like a lot of horror sequels after a pretty fucking solid start to this franchise with a first movie have done in the past. So then number 9, I'm going to put Avatar 3, which is Fire and Ash, I believe it's called. Obviously, Avatar 1 was visually a treat. Avatar 2 itself as well, a visual treat. Stories themselves are pretty decent. They're not like groundbreaking. They're pretty decent. The acting's good as well. You're mainly there for Avatar for the breathtaking visuals, the fight sequences, and usually a pretty incredible score behind it. And Avatar 1 and then obviously the second one both delivered those aspects. And for the fact, again, just like the second one, they've took so long to make this third one. Not as long as the second one, because obviously the first one was 2009, the second one was 2022. Obviously, that was a huge fucking time gap. Now we're at 2022 to 2025. So there's, it's not as much of a time gap, but it's still a time gap. Usually that is a good sign, because it means they're putting so much fucking time and effort into it. I know, obviously, yeah, you throw in these strikes with the actors and the writers we've had over the last, back in 2023. I know you throw that into the mix, that kind of does delay some stuff, which obviously causes a lot of other movies, not just this movie, but a lot of movies to get pushed back down the line. But hopefully that means they can put so much effort when they weren't doing the filming or working on the story. They can put so much effort into making sure the visuals are coming out perfect, which is what everyone goes to the Avatar movies for. They go for seeing these visuals on the big screen, because when you watch it at home, it's not the same. When you watch it on the big fucking screen at the cinema, it's perfect to watch. Obviously, they are definitely going Last Airbender territory with the Fire Nation and stuff like that now, but I'm going to let us slide, because so far I've done 2 movies, and the 2 movies have been pretty decent, so hopefully, again, James Cameron does another good job with this third one, and it gets you to the point of, okay, I'm looking forward to this 4th one that's coming out down the line, and 5th one, I think, is the last one, isn't it? So hopefully each entry gets you hyped up for the next one. So then number 8, this was a toss-up. Number 7 and 8 were definitely a toss-up with which order they're going with. But I'm going to put the Fantastic Four First Steps as number 8. This is one, all we really know is the time period it's set in and the cast. There's not too much about this. apart from those specific things, they kind of kept a lot of it hush hush. There's not really been a trailer yet, despite the fact the movie comes out in July. So hopefully within the next month or so, we will get this first look, official proper look. That's not just like a behind the scenes picture or just a poster. I hope we actually get a proper look at the Thor in action, and hope we get a proper look at Galactus in action as well. So hopefully, I say over the next month or two, we get a bit more information with this. That's why I'm not going to put any higher. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, Marvel don't fuck up like Fox have done in the past, particularly with the last one. I mean, I didn't hate the first two attempts from Fox, the first Fantastic Four and the Rise of Silver Surfer one. I didn't hate them. So hopefully, they don't fuck up as much as they did. Obviously, Fox did with the first attempt at rebooting. So, but when I say fuck up, I mean don't manhandle the movie and kind of fucking make them change the entire thing. So I'm hoping that Marvel don't do that, especially for the fact that I can't see them fucking up too much. Sorry. I can't see them fucking up too much for the fact that obviously these is now leading into their big Avengers movies. So I can't see them fucking up. Well, they can't fuck up basically for what they're gonna wanting people to have down the line. They physically can't fuck this up. So if they do, people aren't going to give a shit too much about what's coming out, despite this, Robert Downey Jr. announcements, despite all the theories about these two movies. People aren't going to give a shit if they're big. Not just this one, but I mean, because obviously Thunderbolts and the Captain America movie, those characters are probably going to play a pivotal part in this movie's build-up. If all these fuck up, then they're fucked, basically. Talking of if this fucks up, you're fucked. Number 7 is going to be Superman, the latest attempt at bringing the Man of Steel to life on the big screen. This time, James Gunn at the helm, because this is the movie kickoff for his DC universe. Obviously, Creature Commandos was the animated kickoff, kind of pretty much the official kickoff. Obviously, Peacemaker is going to be the TV show kickoff for that universe, the live-action TV series kickoff, whereas Superman's going to be the big screen kickoff, which actually comes out around the same time as Fantastic Four and around the same time as Universal's attempt at bringing Jurassic World back to life. So there's a lot going on in the month of July. But this is obviously above Fantastic Four because we've actually had footage on it, and the footage actually looks pretty fucking good. It does definitely feel like a James Gunn movie. I know there's been a lot of rumours about, obviously, bad test screenings and stuff, but I'm not going to take that into account until I've seen the movie or actual official word has come out of issues with test screens, because at the moment it's just all the case of online people like, oh, I've heard from this person who's heard from this person that there's been a bad test screening on this movie, and that's why they're doing reshoots and shit like that. And then you got the director going, oh no, these aren't reshoots for that, these are literally for these little things that I need to tweak here and there. So you never know what to believe with online. So, but the first trailer dropped for it looked pretty cool. It showed you pretty much what you wanted to see, which was Superman in action. All these different DC side characters like Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific. It showed all these characters on the big screen for the first time. So it pretty much did exactly what it needed to do to hook you in. And as I say, for the fact that it's got James Gunn behind it, who literally helms the Suicide Squad, which was great, Peacemaker Series 1, which was great, and then the Guardians trilogy, which just got better and better. I can't see him stepping a foot wrong with this one. Will I love it as much as I enjoyed Zack Snyder's Man of Steel? I don't know, because obviously I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. Obviously, I'm not like these fucking Snyder Boy fanboys out there who are just fucking bashing his movie before it's even come out. I'm gonna give this guy a chance as Superman, and to see how he does, because I enjoyed his performance in Twisters, and I enjoyed his performance in Pearl. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna again enjoy his performance as Superman. Hopefully, he gives a different spin to what Cavill did. Not just Cavill as well, but obviously Tyler Hoechlin with Superman and Lois. So hopefully, he gives a different light to the Man of Steel himself. Then number 6 is a movie that's coming out January, and that is Wolfman, which is the new Lee Wynell movie. Obviously, his second attempt at bringing a beloved horror icon to life. Obviously, he did Invisible Man back in 2020, which fucking was fantastic. It was so good. Obviously, I've seen like the possible look of the Wolfman, and that is probably the only hindrance with this movie. But the first trailer they dropped for this, the tone of the trailer was perfect. It's what you wanted. Obviously, we've already had a Wolfman remake within the past like 10 or so years. When was it? 2009, 2010 was it? Well, so in the past 20 years, we've already had one Wolfman remake, which I really enjoyed, despite its flaws. But I'm hoping because of the fact that Wynell handled the Invisible Man perfectly in terms of bringing that into a modern day scenario, I'm hoping this does that as well. Because obviously, unlike the last Wolfman remake, which was obviously set in the obviously Victorian time period, this one, of course, is more set in modern times. So I'm hoping he's able to blend it perfectly like he did with Invisible Man and utilize modern day situations in bringing this story to life. So I'm definitely going to check it out when it comes in cinema. I think it's like January 17th, I think it comes out. I'm still waiting for my cinema to put on these showings so I can actually go, yep, going to that one first fucking thing. But yeah, I've got a few, probably got two, I think I got two live action remakes coming up in my top 5 now. So number 5 is going to be the Lilo and Stitch movie. I fucking love Lilo and Stitch. What can I say? The first one is so good. It's in like my top 20 films easily of all time. The sequels weren't as great, and the TV series wasn't as good either, but they were still pretty solid like follow-ups. Like the first one for me is like a 10 out of 10 easily, and the follow-ups were like 8 out of 10s, which I think is pretty decent for a follow-up, but being that high is still pretty fucking good. So when they announced a live-action adaptation, I was like, okay, this could either be really bad or it can be really good. It's Disney for you. But the look is they've definitely got Stitch right in these previews they've shown for the movie so far. I'm just waiting for them to drop the previews of the other aliens, i.e. Jumper and Pleakley and Gantu. I'm hoping that they look as good as fucking Stitch does, because Stitch looks perfect to me in live-action form. So I'm hoping that they do justice for Lilo and Stitch. If they don't, Disney, you've upset a big Lilo and Stitch fan here. So, okay, then number 4 is going to be Jurassic World Rebirth, which is the 4th entry in the Jurassic World saga. Obviously, they concluded the Owen Grady and Claire stuff with the last Jurassic World Dominion. And now, of course, they're bringing the franchise back to life. They're continuing on. Like, the story's still there. Everything that's happened in the past has still happened. This is just a new bunch of characters dealing with a new situation. Obviously, they've got Scott Johansson here. They got the guy from Wicked. Obviously, they got the actor who is 50-50 playing Blade. We don't know yet. It depends on if they can actually get that movie off the ground or not. But the story, from what I read, the story is going to be sounds interesting. I think the reason I'm looking forward to this quite highly is because Gareth Edwards is behind it, and he's a pretty decent fucking director. So I feel like the franchise is in good hands with him, and I've heard like it's going back to its old roots, so the old Jurassic Park, and I'm just like, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. Being obviously, if you can blend the modern Jurassic Park correctly with the how the old ones felt, then you've got a fucking like a hit on your hands. And as I say, I've enjoyed the Jurassic Park movies. I've enjoyed the series they do on Netflix at the moment. I mean, I've spoke about all the movies on the podcast like back in 2022 with Hayden, and we spoke about how much we enjoyed each movie in their own way. And so I'm the stills are showing of the characters. I'm like, okay, we've got the character stills. Show me some dinos. I want to see those dinos. That's what we're here for. We're not here for the characters. We're here for the dinosaurs and all their glorious carnage. So, for the fact that obviously we know, obviously thanks to obviously Dominion, that the dinosaurs are out in the world. I want to see more of these human interactions with these dinosaurs and how people are coping still with the fact that dinosaurs are roaming the earth. Then number 3 on here is going to be How to Train Your Dragon, another remake of an animated film I really do love. I rewatched the whole trilogy last year. I think it's like maybe October, November time. I just was like, I want to rewatch them. And I rewatched them and I fell in love even more than I already was. They're just perfect animated films. And it's another case like Lilo and Stitch. I'm hoping they don't step a foot wrong with this one. I don't see how they can, because they've got the exact same guy who made the animated films behind it. Well, one of them at least. So I don't see how they can step a foot wrong. I know a lot of people, once again, the controversy of some of its casting choices are being pointed out, but I don't give a shit. As long as the film feels like the animated movies, I'm not going to complain. As long as they don't ruin How to Train Your Dragon, I'm not going to complain. Again, just like the Lilo and Stitch one, the visual they showed for the dragons and for Toothless look outstanding. They look perfect. It's just the hope of the rest of the movie lives up to that. I mean, not just the visuals for the dragons. I mean the practical design and obviously for the suits, so the Viking suits, look spot on. I mean, Gerard Butler in live action as his character from the animated film. Sorry, he looks really good, and I'm hoping, as I say, all these positives make the film come out and it's fucking perfect. If it's not, then it's another case of what was the point of remaking something that didn't need remaking. So then number 2, I'm going to put Predator Badlands, the follow-up to Prey, but it's not a follow-up. It's obviously another next Predator movie by the same director of Prey, but it's just not an actual follow-up. So I know this one's set, again, different time period, and this is one of 2 Predator things we're getting this year, but for the fact that Prey was just perfect in every way possible. Again, for the fact it's got the same people behind it. I know, see, unlike Black Phone 2, this doesn't have the constraints of you being worried of the follow-up, because any follow-up to Predator can always be a different story in a different setting, focused on different characters dealing with a different Predator, which is what the Predator franchise has always been. Original movie, set in the jungle. Second movie, set in the urban jungle, i.e. the city. Third movie, set in space on the actual alien planet. Fourth movie, obviously they brought it back to Earth into more of a suburb area. And in the 5th one, they went back in time to, obviously, essentially pre-America. Dealing with, obviously, native tribes, dealing with, obviously, a predator. So it's always something different. The only main theme usually is some badass fucking dealing with them. Obviously, we got Arn in the first one, Danny Glover in the second one, Adrian Brody in the third one. Don't remember the actor's name, but the one from Narcos in the 4th one, and then Amber Mindhunter in the 5th one. You've always got some badass, and you've always got a bunch of some level of soldiers, either military, cops in the form of the second one, and then obviously just warriors in the last one. You've always got some level of what's the word I'm after here? Like I can't think of the word I'm after, but you always got basically some level of soldier type characters dealing with this ultimate hunter, and this, as I say, it doesn't have that hindrance like Black Phone 2 does, where it's the case of that doesn't need a sequel. Predator can just be spun off in so many different ways, and the setting for the new one sounds pretty intriguing. I mean, they've already got a great lead for this one like they did with the last one. And as I say, for the fact that they've got the same director again, and he very clearly loves the Predator franchise and wants to get it right, this has to be high. The only reason it's not going to be number 1 for me is just because there's one final outing heading out this year, which every movie's been getting better and better since the 4th one, and I can see this being, the perfect the icing on the cake, basically. Or in this case, maybe the cake's already iced up, the little sprinkles on the top just to make it even more fucking perfect. So I'm going to put number 1, I'm going to put Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise's supposedly final Mission Impossible movie. The trailer looked really good. And as I say, ever since Ghost Protocol, the movie's just been getting better and better. Ghost Protocol was good. Rogue One was even better. Fallout was even better. And then obviously Dead Reckoning, which was technically Dead Reckoning Part 1, because this was meant to be Part 2, but they changed it to names entirely. That was even better. Because the original trilogy, the first one was good, but the second and third one never hit the same. But I say, ever since they brought it back with Ghost Protocol, sorry, they just seem to get it better with each entry. They always nail the villain perfectly, and they always get the right balance of emotion and comedy between your core set of characters. And the last one did it perfectly, but what everyone's always there for with these ones is the stunts. Tom Cruise always trying to outdo himself every movie, and he's definitely been outdoing himself with the last few Mission Impossibles. Some crazy ass stunts, and I'm interested to see what crazy ass stunt he pulls off in the Final Reckoning, because obviously this is supposed to be the final mission. And for the fact that I've loved every single one since Ghost Protocol, I feel like I'm going to walk out going, this is perfect. This was a great ending. Then again, that's the problem with being the final one. If this is the ending, if they're going to do a proper ending, it's going to be the case of it needs to be done right. And I'm hoping it is going to be done right, because I feel like, for the fact how much effort Tom Cruise put into this franchise, I feel like he'd make sure it's right. So that's why I feel like I've got to put the Final Reckoning as number 1, because I said the trailer they put out back in November, I think it was. Yeah, it was really interesting. It had the action, it had the emotion, it had the notion of this is it, the final mission, and it got me hooked straight away. And I cannot wait for, I believe this one's May. Yeah, I think this one's May. I cannot wait for this being released in May, because let's say it's the culmination of all the previous. What possible is this on there? 5. This is 8, if I remember correctly. 1, 2, 3. Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning. Yeah, it's the culmination of this 8-movie franchise. I had to work it out then. I wasn't gonna like fully nail down a number. Then I'm fucking working this out. It's the culmination of this 8-movie franchise that, as I say, struggled early on with its second and third entry. They weren't as good as that first one, but they definitely realised that when bringing it back with Ghost Protocol, and they just upped the ante every single time, focusing on the main draw for these movies: Tom Cruise running and stunts. So, yeah, and this one is probably going to top everything they've ever done. Well, it needs to, really. If it's going to be the last one, you've got to top everything. I mean, I don't know how you're going to top fighting on a train that's going to just crash off a fucking bridge, or technically fighting on top of a moving train, but I mean, they found a way to top him flying up on top of a plane, because they did the helicopter stunt and followed up with the train. I mean, some crazy ass. This guy is fucking insane. Someone needs to check Tom Cruise's mental well-being, because he's fucking crazy. But for our entertainment purposes, crazy is good. So yeah, that's my top 10 for movies. I'm going to quickly run through them again. So number 10, Black Phone 2. Number 9, Avatar 3. Number 8, Fantastic Four. Number 7, Superman. Number 6, Wolfman. Number 5, Lilo and Stitch. Number 4, Jurassic World Rebirth. Hold on. Sorry. Number 3, How to Train Your Dragon. Number 2, Predator Badlands. And number 1, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So yeah, that's my 3 top 10 lists. I say movies was the struggle for me. There was definitely a fucking bunch, as I listed at the start of the section, that I wanted to put in, but I just could not get them in, because of these movies for me are ones that I'm looking forward to the most. I said I wanted at least one Marvel one. It could have been any of them. I think I chose Fantastic Four over the other two, despite having more footage for the other two, because I like the cast of Fantastic Four. And I've always liked the Fantastic Four team. So I feel like that's the only reason that went in there over the other Marvel movies, despite having actual footage to back those ones up in terms of what I'm going to be seeing in cinema. But still, obviously, if there's any media, movies, TV show, video games that you're most looking forward to in 2025, you can even put your little top 10 list or a specific like one for these categories that you're most looking forward to. You can put that in the comments below. So don't forget, you can check out the podcast on Apple Podcast, Audible, Spotify. I don't know why I fucking forgot Spotify. That's the first one I always do. Etc. And obviously you can check out the actual video on YouTube. Obviously next week I'll be doing the top 10 2024 list, which obviously again will be games, TV, and movies. Obviously some of the TV and game one are going to be the difficult one because some of them in there I haven't yet finished. I'll work around that to an extent. But the movie one's pretty easy because I've pretty much nailed in my top 10 for that. There's only a couple of films I still want to see. I'm hoping to try and get them in before I need to sit down to record the top 10 movies list because, as I say, I feel like they may just creep in, but I'll have to try and see if I can get them in over the course of the next few days before I sit down and record the next episode. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that covers everything. Don't forget, obviously, to check out my playthrough I'm currently doing of the Suicide Squad game. I've been sitting through that while I get myself hyped up to jump back into Black Flag. So don't forget to check that out. And don't forget to check out all the one-shot games I did over the festive period. And yeah, obviously, we've got the Golden Cake Awards coming up soon. And obviously, when we get closer to that date, I'll obviously announce it properly. But I'm hoping at this point I'm going to have the nominations out so people can see. But I'm still working through a few of my lists to get them down to the right who's getting nominated for what. So just keep an eye out on Instagram because once I've got them nailed out, they'll be on there. So hopefully when this episode goes out, they're nailed out. But we'll have to wait and see. Other than that, I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. I do hope to see you next time. Goodbye. If you like what you've seen, don't be afraid to throw us a little like and subscribe. That's always very appreciated over here. And, well, I'll see you on the next video.